Welcome to Week 2. This week, we will learn about reading instruction that will assist your students with becoming lifelong readers. Children of all ages love to hear books read aloud. Many toddlers and preschoolers will ask to have a favorite book read over and over and over. As a teacher, you will rely on that love for familiar texts to help your children become growing, independent readers. We will be looking at two instructional contexts for reading in a balanced literacy framework: shared reading and interactive read aloud. These instructional practices each play a key role in both decoding and comprehension instruction. Be sure to take a look at page 37 of our guided reading text. That is where you will see 4 of the 5 instructional contexts for reading. And also be sure to look at pages 38 through 39, because interactive read aloud and shared reading are also discussed a bit there. Chapter 3 focuses on shared reading as it pertains to early readers. Pay particular attention to the texts which are used, tools and materials, and the components of a shared reading lesson. Please note that the teacher introduces the text and invites conversation that has students thinking about the topic or the story in the first reading. So during that first reading, the teacher reads to the students. It is the second reading when the students read with the teacher. Chapter 4 focuses on shared reading as it changes over time. It goes in depth about the value of shared reading for intermediate or middle level readers. Shared reading and interactive read aloud are both highly beneficial for English language learners. During shared reading, these students can join in, producing their known English while being supported by the teacher and their classmates. And the repeated readings of shared reading text help English language learners practice and internalize the syntax of English. As you view the videos below about shared reading and interactive read aloud, think about the differences and similarities between the two. Be mindful of how your thinking shifts regarding best practices for reading to and or with the children. So you want to be sure that you are watching these videos and reading the articles so that by the end of the week, you're going to be able to create and teach a shared reading lesson for one student. All right. You will find the Ohio English Language Arts Standards at this link. Because you're going to need those for your lesson. A reminder of the video guidelines and the rubric that I will be using for week 2. Here we are. All right, week 2. You're going to record your shared reading lesson. After viewing the YouTube shared reading videos, you will now be creating and teaching your own shared reading lesson. Follow the steps below to complete your assignment. post both your lesson plans and your teaching video link to YouTube on our discussion board. Remember that in shared reading, that the teacher and the students are reading together. So step 1, what are you going to do? You're going to choose a big book or enlarged text that is appropriate to your licensure area. You can find big books at your local library or print off a small book from Reading A to Z and use a copier to enlarge the pages. You might use a poem. You could also do that with chart paper. In upper elementary, it's not uncommon to use shared reading with an informational passage to discuss the text features specific to that genre. You will use your chosen reading selection to plan your shared reading activities. Step 2, choose a grade level that you will target appropriate to your licensure area. Step 3, use the shared reading plan to plan 5 days worth of activities for your book. You will find this form for 5 days on Moodle in week 2. Step 4. Next, choose one day to highlight. You're going to complete a detailed lesson plan, prepare materials, and plan a time to meet with your child. This form is also found on Moodle. You're going to have your lesson focus, the standards that you're addressing, and explicitly list step by step what's going to happen in this lesson. You're going to need to list the materials and then reflect about your lesson after you've taught it. How do you think it went? What could be improved? Step 5, you're going to teach that highlighted lesson to the student, videotape the lesson, post all lesson plans and the video link on our discussion board. If you have questions about this, please ask me before you submit the video. Everything you need is right here in week 2 except your text that you're going to use. If you have questions, please ask. I'm looking forward to our learning together this week.